And welcome back to the Dawn Show, talking about your health and information that you need to know. This could affect you or somebody you love along the road of life. So we want to bring on, you've already met Mary Elizabeth, and we want to bring on Dr. George Francos, who's the medical director of the Kidney and Pancreas Transplant Program at Jefferson University Hospitals and on the board of directors of the National Kidney Foundation. So you're all connected here. Welcome, Dr. Francos.
Thank you for having me.
So first of all, what's happening with you at Jefferson right now? Because you're seeing more and more people. I mean, Mary Elizabeth said you have millions and millions, and this is not a situation with kidney disease that's decreasing, unfortunately.
There are now about 400,000 patients on dialysis in the United States, and only perhaps 25,000 people get a transplant every year. So there are not enough kidneys to go around and do transplants on everybody. And transplanting is the best treatment ultimately for kidney failure if you're well enough to go through it. I'm involved at all levels of kidney disease, which means that I see patients who are referred because they have a kidney problem, but not kidney failure. And there we either try to treat the disease so it doesn't turn into kidney failure, or at least prolong kidney function as long as we can. And then I do take care of dialysis patients. I consider that where we live as nephrologists. And then, of course, I'm involved in very much so in the kidney transplant program. I'd like to volunteer though, that we love to talk about preventing kidney failure. We love to talk about transplanting, but let's not forget about the dialysis patients. Yeah. They're the bravest people in the world. Aww. And some people are on dialysis for 20, 30 years. It can be part of their lives. Well, of course it's part of their lives. It could be a big chunk of their lifespan. So it's a rough way of life, and they're very brave people.
That's so beautiful, and obviously your patients touch your lives in ways that I probably can't imagine, that a lot of us can't imagine. But I love that you were telling me about something that you were excited about, Dr. Francos, and that was because, as you said, with the numbers, you want more and more people. We all have 2 kidneys. See if you could donate one, because those numbers are needed out there.
Let's put it this way. The best treatment, as I said before, for kidney failure is transplantation. The best form of kidney transplantation is from a live donor. It doesn't necessarily need to be a relative, but just a live donor. The average numbers are 7 to 8 years on average that a deceased donor's kidney would function as a transplant, and twice that long, 15, 16, 17 years for a living donor kidney to function on average. And by the way, I think it's important to say that a deceased donor kidney can last 30 years, and a living donor kidney can be gone the next morning. But for the most part, those are the averages. Now, we often have people that come in to see us to talk about kidney transplant, and they will, for example, at the age of 60 or 65, say, well, my son or my daughter said that they want to give me a kidney, but I would never let them do that. And you ask them why they wouldn't let them do it, and it's to a great extent out of ignorance, and that it is not a health-changing experience for the vast majority of people that donate. So this weekend we're having a function at Jefferson on Sunday afternoon where people who have donated a kidney and people that they have donated to will be there for people who are thinking of donating or have reservations about letting someone donate to them. So they can actually meet people that have done it and meet people that have gotten a kidney.
Which is a great way to just encourage it and to say, here, talk to this family, they did this, and please move forward and let your 40-year-old son or daughter donate. Before we go quickly, Dr. Francos, I'm going to let Mary Elizabeth toot your horn a little bit, because we have the kidney ball, and he's getting a big award. We want to give him a shout out here.
Absolutely. Dr. Francos will be one of our honorees for our 30th annual Kidney Ball, which is our annual fundraising gala It's a great event, and we're really excited to have Dr. Francos as an honoree this year. He's done a tremendous amount of work for the NKF with being on our board of directors for about 2 to 3 years, and just connecting us with patients and sending them our way so that we can help them through dialysis and through some of their issues, and try and help them the best we can.
Well, you've dedicated your life to this, Dr. Francos, and so thank you for all that you do, and you obviously care and you love people. And Mary Elizabeth, thank you so much. We love your bright smile and your enthusiasm. We thank you so much. We're going to talk about nutrition and what you can do to be healthier when the Dawn Show continues. Welcome back to the Dawn Show. Dawn Stensland-Menti here, talking about your health. This is so important, which is why in the house, registered dietitian Kristin Raebiger is here, and she tells us which foods to avoid, which foods we want, and especially because we're talking, of course, about the National Kidney Foundation and staying healthy, so we don't need one of those transplants that Dr. Francos was telling us about.
Absolutely.
Good to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
So first of all, what to avoid. We know that diabetics, obesity, all of these things play into kidney problems and health problems. So what should we be avoiding, Kristin?
The first thing I believe is to start to decrease animal-based protein.
Which is all we hear about nowadays, right? With the Atkins diet and all that. It's protein, cut down on carbs.
Well, animal-based protein is what we call a complete source of protein, which contains all 9 essential amino acids in one source. So amino acids are needed for protein synthesis.
Okay.
Plant-based sources, most of them are what we call incomplete sources, which means that in one source, there's not all 9 essential amino acids.
Okay.
For example, in beans, we have some of the amino acids. In rice, we have the other amino acids.
Okay.
When we eat it together, we complete our protein.
So we want more beans and rice, and we want less
of your red meats.
Okay.
When you're choosing meats, leaner cuts of meat, chicken, fish, turkey, and really decreasing your portion sizes of your meats. We tend to consume really high animal-based protein in the United States.
And what else should we be avoiding?
As far as protein, your animal-based, what you should be kind of focusing on is more complete sources, plant-based sources.
Okay.
Tofu.
Quinoa is so big, right?
Quinoa is. Quinoa is actually, which we have right here, is actually considered a grain, but technically it is a seed. The Incas used to grow it for over 5,000 years in South America. And when the Spanish came in, not really knowing its value, they made it illegal for them to grow.
Oh, no.
Okay, so it kind of, in the 1980s, 2 Americans rediscovered it, started growing it in Colorado. So it's kind of making its way back. It is a complete source of protein. So it does give you all 9 essential amino acids in one source that is plant-based.
And, other than these healthy ones, one thing I wanted to ask you about, because this is something the Cash family told me, they really have to watch with their daughter, sodium. And this is something in the American diet, everything's salt-filled.
Sodium is in everything.
Yeah.
Sodium is in everything. So the first thing that I really recommend is avoiding the salt shaker.
Okay.
Okay, so getting rid of...
Don't cook with the salt.
Don't cook with the salt. Don't add it to your foods. Another thing is salt substitute. Okay, so a lot of people say, if I can't have salt, can I have a salt substitute? Well, as far as with kidney disease, salt substitute is potassium chloride. And potassium can be more harmful to the kidneys than sodium.
And junk food, of course, and processed foods are loaded with sodium. What about sugar?
Sugar. Sugar is my favorite thing, right? So sugar is very addictive. So sugar and the addiction cycle. Sugar releases dopamine in your brain, and dopamine is a neurotransmitter that is responsible for the pleasure and reward center. So when we consume sugar, it releases a little dopamine in our brain, which we like it, and then we want to consume more.
Evil sugar.
I know. It's just legal, right?
And quickly, we do want to get to the hummus recipe, because this is just a healthy snack. In the fall, after you've done one of the kidney walks, right? Come home and have your hummus snack. And this is something that's so simple but healthy, right?
It is. This is a pumpkin hummus, which uses the pumpkin puree, a little harissa, which is kind of a blend of spices. I believe there's some onion powder in there as well.
And here's the recipe for you. So it's just wonderful and salt-free.
And then we did slice some sweet red bell peppers to kind of dip.
And Kristin, I want to thank you so much, because it's so important for all of us to eat healthier.
you.
So thank you, Kristin. Stay healthy. See you tomorrow.
Thank you.